again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Infield Fly, talking baseball with you as we will recap the last week in Major League Baseball and look ahead to what's coming up this week as well, plus check in on our favorite teams. I'm Rob Fisher. I'm a fan of the hottest team in baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals, and I love my team. We'll talk a little Cardinals. They're making more news. Lang Whitaker is here. He's an Atlanta Braves fan. Hello, Lang.
The fan of the coldest team in baseball.
Oh, come on. Don't even start that up.
Yep.
Get out of here with that.
Just got swept.
Get out of here with that.
Struggling Braves team. Yeah, real struggling. Keith Murphy is here. He's a Chicago Cubs fan.
Break them up.
Murph.
Break up the Cubs.
Break up the Cubs. They are they're right smack dab in the middle. This is where they are.
Which is crazy. That's really saying something.
Hey, a lot of things we learned this week on in Major League Baseball. Forgot to mention this last Monday, but it was great. Sunday night, SportsCenter interviewed Mookie Betts, and when they were playing the San Diego Padres last week, they were playing in San Diego, and they asked him about the rivalry and everything. And then they asked him what was the worst sign that he saw in San Diego, and he said it just said Mookie Betts eats corn the long way.
Yeah.
I think it's an old wrestling reference too. I believe it's.
Oh yeah,
a wrestling fan made that about.
That makes sense.
Either Goldberg or somebody. Yeah,
I like it. I thought that was pretty funny. Also, in Anaheim, Jonah Heim of the Texas Rangers was batting, and up on the jumbotron, they had his picture, of course, and it said has a daughter. However, they missed an opportunity and did not name her Anna. Anaheim.
It's pretty good.
I thought that was pretty good.
A lot of puns.
Yeah, a lot of puns. Orlando. Have you seen their $1.7 billion stadium proposal in Orlando? Yeah, that's what we need. Another team in Florida, because that's worked out so well.
Yeah, I can't. I don't even know what's going on with that. That thing looks like something from like Tomorrowland. It just
doesn't it?
Yeah,
just weird. Man.
It made me
like,
think of
creepy.
Biodome. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It
looks really cool. I don't know. I mean, who knows if they'll actually have a team there? But
yeah, and Pat Williams is a big part of that. The old the guy who
got the magic there.
He's written 75 books, I believe. Pat Williams has. And when you see Pat Williams at an Orlando Magic game, he's got a great little seat in the corner of the stadium, of the arena, and he sits there and he just has a little table and he has a little chair and it's just him by himself. And all he does the whole game is read.
What?
I don't know. It's his own books.
It's probably his own books, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little weird. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander. You've heard of them. They're being paid $86 million this season. They've gone 27 2/3 innings pitched, have an ERA combined of 5.29.
Jeez.
The Tampa Rays are paying their entire pitching staff $22 million. That is 20 pitchers are being paid $22 million. That is about $64 million less than both Scherzer and Verlander. They've pitched 322 innings as opposed to 27. Their ERA is 2.93. The Tampa Rays pitching staff that's making $22 million, all 20 of them. Pretty impressive. That's why they're in first place.
And that's why the Mets aren't very good.
Yeah. Forgot to mention this last week and wanted to mention it. Don't know if either of you, how much you want to talk about it, but Vida Blue passed away at the age of 73. 3 titles with the A's, 1971 AL Cy Young Award and MVP in the same season, which is incredible that he was able to do that. Pretty amazing reading some stuff up on Vida Blue about how big of an impact player he was in Major League Baseball and how big of an Oakland A he was to where the commissioner didn't allow them to trade him because he meant so much to the organization, which was pretty amazing. But Vida Blue, any Vida Blue stories? Anything you remember about Vida Blue?
I just remember my old man talking about him a lot. And actually a lot of, it's funny how he's all the way out in Oakland, but people in Chicago, especially Black baseball fans, were kind of like, wow, this guy, they don't talk about his achievements enough or what he was able to do during this time. Also, I like the fact that his dominance, it's like when you read it, it's almost like, it's like somebody made up the stats. When you read up his stats sometimes, you just don't even understand how dominant it is because he was in an era where there was a lot of other dominant pitches, and sometimes he gets lost in the blue. I love his windup. I love the way he threw. He had this little funky little way that he pitched. Just this whole larger than life caricature of the man. Sometimes looms larger than what he actually did on the mound. So he really meant a lot to people.
Yeah. I mean, I learned a lot about him just reading about him because I just remember his baseball cards.
Yeah.
That's basically
Same.
what I remember about Vida Blue.
I mean, I think when I was growing up in Atlanta and he was all the way on the West Coast, and it was at a time where it was hard to see games from teams that weren't near you. So I don't really remember watching him play very much. And I just remember, like you said, Rob, I remember seeing his baseball cards.
Yeah.
It was cool to get a Vida Blue card.
That's right.
I mean, he probably has the coolest name ever.
Yeah, he had a name like a superhero or something.
It was like you can't even tell. Like I always thought about like this mythical name that he has. You always thought that he came from another planet, and now he's just a regular dude, from the South,
Yeah.
Well, Vida Blue passing away at the age of 73. All right, let's look at our teams. We'll go coldest to hottest. We'll go coldest.
I'm first.
To hottest, and for the first time ever, Lang goes first. Feels like forever, at least. The Atlanta Braves, they split 2 with Boston, then swept 3 times in Toronto.
What happened, Lang?
What's going on, Lang?
What happened with your squad, baby?
They left a whole bunch of dudes on base. I think they were 1 for 18 with men on base through the first 2 games. Yesterday was actually a close game, and then the bullpen blew it. In the 9th inning, Iglesias came in and blew the game. But yesterday was a bullpen game. I mean, the real issue is pitching. Like we're down to 2 starters. Everyone else is hurt. Kyle Wright's going to be out probably until August, I read today.
Oh gosh.
Fried's going to be out for at least a month and a half, probably 2 months. So you're down to Charlie Morton, Spencer Strider, and Bryce Elder. I guess Bryce Elder has an ERA under 2. He's been one of the best pitchers.
He's been great.
Yeah, this year in the National League. But it's been a tough little stretch here. I mean, they still won. Like they split with the Red Sox, who are good. And then they were in those Toronto games. It wasn't like they were getting blown out.
Right.
The schedule doesn't get easier though, because now we get Texas and then we have Seattle next week, and I'm going to one of those games. So for the Braves, they got to figure out what to do with the pitching, and I think they're going to just try and just get through this without making any moves. The GM said that the other day, so we'll see. I don't know.
Strider got his first loss, but did have 12 strikeouts in the loss. He's now gotten at least half of his outs via strikeout in each of the last 12 regular season starts dating back to last year. It's the longest streak by any pitcher in the modern era.
Yeah. He threw like 110 pitches that game too. Like the one thing is like he's sort of a high volume pitcher. There's very few innings where he throws less than 12 pitches, because he gets almost everybody gets like 0-2, 1-2, 2-2. Like he gets a lot of pitches per batter. So he never really has those guys where it's because they can't hit the ball. So it's either he's going to throw a strike or a ball, and they're kind of just hoping you throw more strikes than balls, which he has. But yeah. We should also talk about the hottest Braves hitter right now, Marcell Ozuna.
Marcell Ozuna, I was going to ask you. My goodness, what's happened?
I don't know. He's hitting the ball the other way. He's driving. Like, I don't know what's going on. But he clearly, they said like that was what he's been working on, was trying to go the other way. Like, because earlier he was just trying to pull everything and hit home runs, and now he's actually starting to like make contact and like work counts. I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's like we're living in the upside down right now.
Acuna's up to 8 home runs, and he's close to 20 stolen bases now on the season.
Yeah,
which is great. We talked about it last week, and it still seems like he gets on base, he's going.
Yeah, the only time he doesn't go is when Matt Olson's like in a position to do something, and he doesn't want to like get the infielders moving.
Right.
But for the most part, like if he gets on base, like he's going.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive. The Braves, so they go 1-4 on the week. And it was the first time that they had lost 3 straight since mid-April, April 19th to the 23rd. For
the one thing is like, yeah, everybody's kind of like the sky is falling right now. It feels like all these Braves fans are, but I saw a stat today. I mean, the Braves still have, I think, the largest lead of any division leader in the majors.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You guys kind of like stacked it up early, so I wouldn't freak out like that. I wouldn't freak out.
5-game lead.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. They made up a much larger lead than that the Mets had last year, so we'll see if they're able to hang on to it. But the pitching is going to be a real thing, I think, to keep your eye on. Like, how are we going to get through this starter? The one guy the rookie that they had made the team out of spring training, Dodd, the pitcher, the starting pitcher,
Right.
they ended up sending him back to AAA, and he's just been getting lit up in AAA every start. So, like, I don't think he's an option. I don't know what they're going to do, but they got to figure out something.
Yeah, when you
What's
get lit up in AAA, that's not good.
no. What's the most surprising of these three? Second through fourth place in the division is Philadelphia, Miami, and the Mets.
I think the Mets being in fourth to me is the
Yep.
most surprising.
Now they're only a half game back of second, so I mean,
Yeah.
all three of those teams are right in the mix.
They're there. I mean, but they've had a lot of injuries too. And I guess maybe Miami is a surprise. Philly.
Miami is the biggest surprise, but I keep saying this, man. It seems like Philly is such a sneaky team.
Yeah.
Like nobody talks about them. They get the big bat back. You know, we're going to talk about the scrum that happened, the little fight that happened up there. But yeah, man, I think it's almost a tie between the Marlins and the Phillies. It's to me, especially the Phillies, because nobody was talking about, because they were just throwing the towel early because of the injuries, you know.
Yeah, they were miserable, and Harper's been on fire. We'll get to them coming up here in moments. But the next hottest team of our favorites are the Chicago Cubs. They lost 4 of 6 this week, not 4 of 5 like the Braves did. They only lost 4 of 6, 2 of 3 to the Cardinals, 2 of 3 at Minnesota. Stroman lost, gave up a couple of runs against the Cardinals. Swanson hit a homer. Justin Steele improved to 6-0 on the season. That's impressive.
Yeah.
In the one win against Minnesota, Drew Smyly improved to 4-1. But then they got clubbed in the 2 losses in Minnesota, giving up 27 runs. Stroman got rocked in that outing. You didn't get a lot of pitching this week, Murph.
Yeah, Marcus Stroman couldn't even make it out of the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
Which is not a good sign. I mean, the 6 earned runs that he gave up, that was, I want to chalk that up to maybe just Minnesota doing their due diligence with the Cubs hitters, understanding how the Cubs hitters, what they take, what they don't take. I mean, it's a blowout. And then you start sending that little rule where you can just start sending out position players to pitch, and that added on to it. I mean, there's a few, bright spots, if any. Suzuki has kind of been bringing it on as of late. I think he's hitting like the last 5 or 6 games, like 357 or something. Yeah, it is what it is, man. It's bad pitching. We're not getting anything out of our lineup. I just think that we just need to settle down a little bit and just get to how we were playing earlier during the season.
Yeah, and then Marcus Stroman, after the game yesterday, said, I've been open with the front office here, been very vocal that I want to be here and I want an extension, that I don't want to honestly make it to free agency, but I'm also very confident in my abilities in free agency. I've always bet on myself. He becomes a free agent after this season. Is he a guy that you feel like the Cubs need to keep?
Yeah, I think they do. I think he's done enough especially this season, to show that he has the stuff. I just think that, people just need to be settled. You feel like you're being jerked here, jerked there. Just let him stay in one place. Let him see what he can do for the whole season. And then, see what you can do. But I like the kid. I like Steele. I like him. Just give him a chance and see what he can do. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. He certainly has the frame. He certainly has the physical attributes.
It seems to me that he's a guy that if you want to be a contender, he'd be 3rd in your rotation,
which is not bad though, Fish. You could pay somebody 3rd big money.
Yeah.
Third pitchers are important in the league. I'm not saying this guy's going to walk out there, and give you, 6 innings every time, and be like, give you a 2.3 ERA or something like that. I'm just saying that he'll be a steady guy, give you, 3 point something ERA.
I mean, the Braves would kill for one of those guys right now.
Yeah. I think he's a reliable pitcher. And in the Cubs frame of mind, we need reliability. We need consistency. That's what we need.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Kyle Hendricks will be back. His last 2 starts with the Iowa Cubs, 10 innings, 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 runs.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm
Sounds-
ready for him. He's like kind of our Mr. And it's called another word again, reliability. He's been that kind of guy for the Cubs. Like when he gets out there, he's not going to get too hot. He's not going to get too cold. You know what he's going to do. So we need a guy like that to kind of like settle everybody down.
Watching the series with the Cardinals and the Cubs, I was quick to believe that Dansby Swanson could become one of the more hated Cubs of all time. Mainly because he just hit everything that the Cardinals threw at him.
He's so good when he's locked in. I mean, Lane, you wasn't lying about the guy when they first made that move. He was in a bit of a funk, you know, a few weeks ago. It seemed like he was kind of like second guessing himself. Then the injury, and then he had to sit down a little bit. But yeah, he's been as good as advertised. I'm happy with that guy.
Yeah, he's been terrific. Now the Cardinals,
The hottest team.
one of the hottest teams in baseball. They have won 6 of their last 7.
They got hot.
They're now just 7.5 out of first place.
You told us they needed to get hot. They got hot.
They just got to get hot. They won 2 of 3 at the Cubs. Wilson Contreras made his big return. He was booed, Murph. They booed him.
Yeah, and what did he do out on the field? He showed and proved, didn't he?
He sure did, didn't he?
He gave the boo birds something to boo about. Did the little sign here, keep booing me, keep booing me.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, man. You can't hate on that.
That was fantastic. Nolan Gorman hit big home runs. His 8th against the Cubs, hit his 9th against Boston. The series win against the Cubs was the first series win for the Cardinals since April 12th. And it was the first time they won 3 games in a row all season. They are 11-3, their last 14 against the Cubs. Oh, that's not even a rivalry anymore.
It's not good.
Jordan Montgomery, the Cardinals' best pitcher, he fell to 2-5 in the Cubs game, however. Then the Cardinals swept 3 at Boston. Arenado homered in all 3 games. Gorman with another big homer. Michaelis with a nice outing. Pitching, the offense has come alive, and
right.
So the Cardinals have been able to win some games here. Now, the thing the Cardinals are still, for how often I've had to hear this whole Cardinal way BS for all of these years of my life. It's the Cardinal way.
Yeah.
The Cardinals have been in the news a lot here recently for stuff that wouldn't seem very Cardinal way-ish. This Contreras stuff.
Are they still talking about trading them, Fish?
No, here's the deal now. Buster Olney went on St. Louis radio and said, quote, "The Cardinals believe his days as an everyday catcher are over." But then the Cardinals announced the next day that he's going to catch. He's back as the catcher. He was gone for 10 days, not catching. He needed to he had to relearn how to catch. He had to learn how to catch the Cardinal way. He had to figure out the pitchers. He had to do all, and apparently he's got it all down because
what happened? Because now it works.
Back behind the plate.
He started hitting. That's what happened. He started hitting.
Yeah, no kidding. He's back behind the plate today. Ollie Marmol said he'll be our catcher moving forward. Kisner will mix in, but we'll still be able to DH Contreras and have Kiz in depending on matchups. But Contreras is the catcher moving forward.
There you go. Congrats. See, it all worked out. And the thing is, like, everybody was like, all this complaining and we can't, what a mess and all that. Like, got the hottest team in baseball and it's all worked out the way you planned.
Let me tell you something. Kudos to Wilson Contreras for being a true professional through all of this.
Yep.
Because the way the Cardinals threw his ass under the bus was ridiculous. And to think
Cardinal way.
Yeah, the Cardinal way.
He had every right to go off on them, Fish. Every right to just pout and talk about management. He kept it low, kept it classy. Didn't really say that much.
He was incredible. Now he just did come out and somebody said, "So what have you done to make yourself a better catcher in the last 10 days?" And he said, "Nothing. It's the same. It's what I do. I catch." So nothing changed. Nothing has changed.
I was more impressed, Fish, with the way you guys handled Boston, who was a hot team.
Yeah, they were. I was too.
Like
'cause I bet
that's
Boston both
shocked when
nights.
you guys won that when you swept that series. I was like, oh, okay, that's a little different.
Well, and again, because Arenado's gotten hot, Paul DeYoung's hot, and Paul DeYoung's hot, and they've decided, well, you know what? Maybe we should start playing him. So that was impressive.
It's good strategy.
I mean, Nolan Gorman's on fire, and they still don't play him every day, which is crazy. He's one of the best hitters in their lineup. Brendan Donovan's one of the best hitters in their lineup. They don't play him every day. They still are screwing with their lineups, but that's the Cardinal way. Jack Flaherty, meanwhile, he was part of the committee that got Wilson Contreras banned as a catcher. Now, it was great because in his first game back with Kisner as the catcher, Flaherty got lit up again. So I thought maybe Kisner would move to outfield, but that didn't happen. And then Flaherty, after the game, was asked about the velocity on his fastball being horrible. His velocity was terrible. And he said, the next time somebody wants to mention the velocity on my fastball, I'm not going to answer the question. I'm going to play with the velocity of my fastball based on what the game calls for. I can get outs with guys at 95. I'm going to play with it. I've always played with it. I've thrown fastballs at 87 when I've been at my best. And then he went on to say, I'm just saying because you all want to make a big deal out of it, and I'm tired of it, and I'm not. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to go for what the game calls for, and that's part of pitching. If you want to ask, you don't understand the art of pitching. I'm going to go with what the situation calls for and what the game calls for. You have to manage pitch count and manage the way that the game goes. There are certain times when you up it, and now you're going to start seeing 4, 5, 6, 94, 95, 96. Certain times you might need to be like, I'm going to throw on 87. And then the reporter said, well, we don't know that unless we ask the question. And he said, well, then you don't understand pitching.
Yeah. Makes sense.
He sounds like a frustrated guy out there. That's what that sounds like.
The dude is a 96, 97 mile an hour pitcher, and he's throwing 87. There is a problem, to the point where the manager came out to the field and said, are you okay?
Rob,
and
you don't understand. You don't understand pitching.
Oh, well, there you go. That's
You don't understand the art of pitching. There's an art to it. Sometimes you don't want to throw it as fast as you're able to throw it. You'd rather the hitters have a chance to hit the ball.
Yeah.
And you know that his little soliloquy reminded me of was Draymond Green saying that I get technical fouls when I want to.
When I want to. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in the former Cardinals tree this week, some great former Cardinals out there. Sandy Alcantara, former Cardinal, who they traded away for Marcelo Zuna, by the way. Also, you got Randy Arozarena, who's on fire. Adolis Garcia, who's been amazing this year. And then you have Zach Gallen, one of the best pitchers in baseball.
And you got Ozuna, but go ahead.
Yeah, and Ozuna. Zach Gallen was asked about being traded from the Cardinals to Arizona, or I think it was to Miami. I think they traded him to Miami. He was in the Ozuna deal, and then he went to Arizona. But he said they were having their little Cardinal caravan, that they do every summer, and they were doing some like little mini camp. That's what it was. It wasn't the Cardinal caravan. It was some mini camp that they wanted to do. And it was like in November. And he was like, well, the season just ended. We went to the playoffs. I want to give my arm rest. They said I wasn't going to do much, so I just didn't go. And then they had a second little mini camp that he decided, he was going to a wedding, so he couldn't go to that one. And then they had a third mini camp, and he said, well, I guess I better go. And he goes to that mini camp, and he shows up, and they said, oh, you really didn't have to come because we don't want you to do anything. So just kind of stand around and watch. And he's like, all right. So he stands around and watches. Then he leaves, and on the drive home, he gets a phone call that says he's been traded. He said, on the way home, they traded me. He said, the Cardinals, they got their certain ways about how they go about some things.
Cardinal way.
The Cardinal way. Man. Cardinals. Not only were they a little hated before, but maybe even a little more now. The Cardinal way.
A bit pretentious, as they say.
Oh, you think? Considering the fans call themselves the best fans in baseball.
Oh, I hate when they do that.
Yeah, the B-fibs. Go Cardinals.
Ah,
All right.
jeez.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I even had to bring it up. Hey, Drake's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drake's coming to Memphis. Opening his highly anticipated 2023 It's All a Blur tour with 21 Savage at FedEx Forum. It's Thursday, June 29. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com or the FedEx Forum box office. For more show information, visit FedExForum.com. And if you're listening on the new Grind City Media app, congratulations, you're already there. Very nicely done. If you're not, you can, and it's very simple to do. Download the brand new official Grind City Media mobile app. Explore new ways to access your favorite GCM content, from your favorite shows and series to news and entertainment. Stay connected with exclusive content at your fingertips with the new Grind City Media mobile app, available in both the Apple and Google Play stores. Check out the app. It's very easy to get all the shows off the app. All right, let's go around the league. The American League, the New York Yankees, they swept 3 against Oakland, and they split 4 against Tampa Bay. Aaron Hicks, remember him? He had his first home run of the year, so people got off his back a little bit. Anthony Volpe became the first, this kind of surprised me, the first Yankees rookie shortstop to hit a grand slam.
Wow.
How about that?
That is crazy.
Yeah. Volpe also hit his 5th and 6th homers against Tampa. Anthony Rizzo hit his 7th, 8th, and 9th in the series against Tampa. Sorry,
don't say his name. Come on, man.
I'm telling you, man, he looks so good in Yankee pinstripes, though. He really does.
It's just terrible.
And the way he swings in that stadium, I mean, it's beautiful. I don't even remember him being a Cub anymore, Murph.
I don't fish. I don't understand it. You're just twisting a knife, man. Twisting a knife.
Aaron Judge hit his 7th and 8th for the Yanks. Judge now 29 career multi-home run games, tied with A-Rod for the 5th most in Yankees franchise history. And Nasty Nestor, how about this? He's been getting off to great starts and then struggling a little bit. Nestor Cortez, his first 4 innings, he's got a 1.97 ERA. After the 4th inning, he's got a 16.55 ERA. Yeah. So if you get the Nasty Nestor, he can be nasty.
Both ways.
Yeah. Good nasty, and he's good nasty early and he's bad nasty late. Tampa, meanwhile, they lost 2 of 3 at Baltimore and split the 4 with the Yankees. Their worst week of the season.
They're finally cooling off.
Yeah. But Shane McClanahan, he went 6 scoreless. He is now 7-0 on the season. The Rays became the 5th team in the World Series era to start 28-7 or better through 35 games. The previous 4 all made the World Series, and 3 of them won. Wander Franco hit the Rays' 74th home run of the year on Tuesday. Only the 2000 Cardinals recorded more through a team's first 37 games of a season. How about that?
Wow.
That's since 1901. And then in the Yankee series, bad news for Drew Rasmussen. Rasmussen placed on the 60-day injured list the same day after he pitched 7 scoreless innings in a win. It's the 4th time this year he's thrown 5 or more shutout innings while allowing 2 or fewer hits. Second major league pitcher in the modern era to do that 4 times within his first 8 starts of a season. The other was Sandy Koufax, but not good news. He is on the IL for 60 days.
That sucks.
And Zach Eflin improved to 5-1. Toronto, they swept 2 at Philadelphia, swept 3 against the Braves. Chris Bassett was great against the Braves. Yeah. Complete game 2-hitter with 8 strikeouts. They had the walk-off on the finale, and the Blue Jays now 12-3 at home. I don't know how the inner workings of that stadium look, but I think watching a ball game on television that's in Toronto looks aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with the roof. I think it was open all weekend, but there were 4 to 5 plays where the Braves outfielders dropped fly balls or bobbled fly balls or had trouble finding fly balls.
It was weird.
It happened throughout the weekend. Like, if it happens once, you think, all right, somebody screwed up. Like, there was one play where there's a fly ball and Acuna just ducked down. Like, he had no idea where it was and it ended up going way over everyone's head. Twice yesterday, outfielders like collided on the Braves and dropped balls. Yeah. Like, it kept happening. So I don't know if it's the stadium or what. I mean, the Blue Jays had a couple plays too where they kind of seemed to struggle. So maybe it's that stadium or playing with the roof open. I don't know what it is, but it's something about it.
Baltimore won 2 of 3 against Tampa, and then won 2 of 3 against Pittsburgh. That's pretty impressive week. Tampa and Pittsburgh, 2 of the top teams in the league. Cedric Mullins hit for the cycle, 7th Oriole to hit for the cycle. Adley Rutschman, his 6th home run, and Gunnar Henderson hit his 4th home run. A couple of my favorite players in the league. Boston, meanwhile, they split 2 in Atlanta. However, it was nice to see in it against Atlanta, Lang, that Kenley Jansen became the 7th pitcher to record 400 saves. First to reach that mark since Francisco Rodriguez in 2016. Just the 4th to do it in the first 14 seasons, joining Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, and Lee Smith. Rivera at 652, Hoffman 601, Lee Smith 478. Then Rodriguez 437, John Franco 424, Billy Wagner 422, and now Kenley Jansen at 400.
I saw a article today or somewhere in the Athletic, and it was the headline was Jansen, because the whole thing was, you remember how long he used to take between pitches and all the little shenanigans and the stretching and all the stuff he would do on the mound before every single pitch. And now he's like gotten all that out of his system, I guess, and he's back to being good again. And there was a story, the headline was something about Jansen's remade his windup and his body to be successful in this new era. And I thought, well, great, he did it after he left the Braves. But
well, let me tell you something though, Lang, because after he did that against the Braves, and the Cardinals came in and swept the Red Sox, and he blew 2 saves.
Good.
And the best part about it was, you're right, he's changed it up and he's gotten into emotion, and Contreras saw it happening. And Jansen would get on the mound, and Contreras put his foot, because the batter doesn't have to be ready till 8 seconds left.
Yeah.
Contreras would be, or Jansen was like ready to throw with like 16 seconds left on the clock. So Contreras put his foot out of the box, and Jansen came set. And if a pitcher comes set while the batter is out of the box, it's an automatic ball. The pitcher gets called for a violation because he can't come set until the batter's set. So Contreras screwed up his timing. He got 3 violations in an inning.
Amazing.
It was the most by anybody in baseball this season, because the Cardinals screwed up his timing completely, because he gets in that rhythm and just he's throwing those darts that he throws, and the Cardinals screwed up the timing, and he was all over the place. He blew 2 saves, and I thought to myself, watching him pitch and then watching him as a Brave. And I know everybody was talking about the great start he's off to this year and everything. He's got 9 saves on the year, and he just blew these 2 against the Cardinals. I don't think he's any good.
Wow.
I mean, he's just a guy that even when he was with the Dodgers, I just never felt like I could rely on Kenley Jansen ever.
I never did either when he was on the Braves, and we were going to the World Series. I didn't feel like that, but I would say that he reminds me physically of Karl Anthony Towns. He looks like him.
Yeah.
And he's big and he's tall and all that. And I don't have a lot of confidence in Karl Anthony Towns either. So I don't know how much.
So that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it's transferred.
I mean, you can't be negative about 400 wins though.
Saves.
Save. But you know what I'm saying. Saves.
Yeah, I mean,
I know, right? But I just
you can't be negative about that. And the shout out that he gave to Andrew Jones. Come on, that was cool.
Yeah, I just think he's probably, maybe he should be a setup guy now. I don't know.
400, man, that's a lot.
He's still making a lot of money.
And he just he throws just straight heaters, straight darts.
Oh, tell me about it. I know.
I don't know. And watching it happen against, I just laughed. And I thought, boy, I saw this a lot of times with Braves. It felt like, and I've seen it with the Dodgers. But yeah, dude's got 400 of them though. I look at that class and I think maybe the top 3 now that Lee Smith is in, but Hall of Famers. Kenley Jansen's nowhere near a Hall of Famer.
No, he's not gonna. No.
I don't know. I mean, 400 saves might be the magic. I don't know.
Nah. You got. I think they're gonna let people. You got to get to the Lee Smith number a little ahead of that now.
Yeah, which is 478.
Because it was a struggle. It was a struggle for Lee Smith to get him.
Yeah.
Oh, real struggle, no doubt.
So remember that.
Yeah.
And Lee Smith was great.
Yeah. All right, American League Central. Cleveland lost 2 of 3 against Detroit. They won 2 of 3 against the Angels. Josh Naylor hit 3 home runs, all in the 8th inning, all to give the Guardians. I'm sorry, give the Guardians the lead. That was pretty impressive. Won 2 of the games. They ended up losing the other. Minnesota won 2 of 3 against San Diego. 2 come from behind late wins. Carlos Correa had a big series. And then they won 2 of 3 against the Cubs. Joe Ryan improved to 6-1, 8 home runs in the 2 wins, including one from Joey Gallo that went 511 feet. Wow.
That's amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
I know the last podcast we were saying how Minnesota is one of those teams where you really don't know if they're really good or if just the division is bad.
Yeah.
I think they're really good.
Yeah.
I think they're really good. They seem to have locked in something over the last like 5-6 games.
Yeah. Well, the rest of that division is boring. So Minnesota should run away with it. They're 5 games over 500. Cleveland's in second, 2 games under 500. Then you have Detroit. They've been surprising. They won 2 of 3 at Cleveland and then lost 2 of 3 against Seattle. White Sox, meanwhile, lost 3 of 4 at Kansas City and lost 2 of 3 against Houston. Luis Robert, 9th, 10th, and 11th home run. Lance Lynn was rocked again. He's 1-5.
Yeah, he hasn't been good.
They're the only reason the White Sox that the back pages, because I keep in touch with my folks back in Chicago, that the newspapers back there are not really going crazy on the Cubs, because every time the Cubs lose a game, the White Sox find a way to like, oh, you lost the game? We're going to get swept. Like they're just bad, man. That's just a bad team right there. And La Russa, he's going to come running back on that horse? I don't know.
Oh, my God. They missed Tony La Russa. Kansas City won a big week for the Kansas City Royals. They won 3 of 4 against the White Sox and had their first walk-off bunt in a baseball game in regulation since August of 2018. How about that? Congratulations.
Wow.
And then they were swept 3 at Milwaukee. But Zach Greinke became the 5th pitcher to strike out 1,000 different batters.
Wow, that's cool.
Struck out 1,000 different batters. Nolan Ryan, 1,182. Randy Johnson, 1,123. Greg Maddux, 1,049. Roger Clemens, 1,022. And Zach Greinke, 1,000. That company.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's
pretty
crazy.
Spectacular.
Like, that's Hall of Fame company.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
I'm saying all the people that you just named are either, couldn't get in Hall of Fame because of cheating.
Right.
Or are in the Hall of Fame. That's all I'm saying. I'm not making any correlation.
I know we've looked him up before even.
We have. And he was on the bubble, right? When we were doing it.
Yeah, I think we decided he's kind of close.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know.
The problem right now.
The problem is he's ended his career pitching for crap teams.
He's been in the majors for almost 20 years now.
Right.
Like, he's been in the majors a long time. He's got
how many wins does he have?
224.
Ugh.
Wow.
I don't think he's gonna make it. He's got 224 wins and 145 losses. He's got a 60.607 winning percentage. So
what if he reaches 250?
Then
he'll have to pitch 3 more years and he'll be 42 years old. He's 39 now.
If he got to 250, he'd be in, but I don't think he can get there. You can't get there playing with the Royals. You get about 4 wins a year.
3 years ago when he was on Houston, he had 3 wins. 2 years ago, he had 11. Last year, he had 4. This year, he's 1-4.
Yeah, but that's because it's a bad team. So
yeah.
I don't know.
They're probably not even giving him any run support.
Somebody's got to make an argument for him.
A guy like that, somebody I could see like the Braves going after, just like an older guy who's a veteran dude who can come in and just eat up innings for you.
Yeah, no doubt. And maybe find something because he's pitching for something,
Right.
Also, the Royals have now lost Jordan Lyles' first 9 starts this season. Ugh. He's 0-7. First time they've lost a pitcher's first 9 starts of a season in franchise history.
That's terrible.
American League West, Houston won 2 of 3 at the Angels. They also won 2 of 3 at the White Sox. Yordan Alvarez had his 8th and 9th home runs. Framber Valdez outdueled Shohei in a 3-1 win for the Astros. Seattle lost 2 of 3 against Texas, and then they won 2 of 3 at Detroit. Bryce Miller, boy, this Bryce Miller guy has been unbelievable to watch. Pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. He went 7 innings, no runs, 3 hits. He's had 3 starts. He's given up just 1 run on 7 hits. He's walked 1, struck out 18 in 19 innings. First pitcher to allow no more than 3 base runners in 6 or more innings pitched in each of his first 3 career appearances since the mound was set at its current distance in 1893. How about that?
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, that's Hall of Fame. Texas won 2 of 3 at Seattle. They won 3 of 4 at Oakland. Nathan Eovaldi went 8 2/3, no runs, 12 strikeouts in a win. And then John Gray, 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs to improve to 3-1. Adolis Garcia, 10th home run. They've scored double digits 10 times this year, which is pretty amazing. Garcia has an MLB high 42 RBIs this year. First Rangers player with 40 or more RBIs within 40 games of a season since Josh Hamilton back in 2012. Remember Josh Hamilton?
Yeah.
And how good he was. Jacob deGrom is going to be out another 2 to 3 weeks with elbow inflammation.
Yeah.
Elbow inflammation.
Deaf in Texas.
Oh my goodness. Angels lost 2 of 3 to Houston and 2 of 3 at Cleveland. Oakland swept 3 by the Yankees and lost 3 of 4 against Texas. National League, the Mets. They finally won a series. They had lost 5 straight series and they were able to play, although actually they haven't won the series because they play one more today.
Yeah.
They've won 2 of 3 at Washington, trying to win a series for the first time in 6 series. So we'll see if they can get Max Scherzer, 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run, left with neck spasms.
Sorry.
It's always something with that guy.
Neck
Right.
spasms.
They haven't won consecutive games since April 19th to 21st. The Phillies swept 2. They're on fire. They swept 2 against Toronto, won 2 of 3 at Colorado. Schwarber hits his 9th home run. Bryce Harper's been on fire in the series against Colorado, 4 of 11, 2 doubles and a homer, and then started a brawl with Rockies pitcher Jake Bird. Bird kind of clapped, walking off the mound, was clapping at Bryce, and Bryce took exception and charged the mound. Bench is empty. Harper was held back.
Nothing happened.
My favorite part of the whole exchange was Harper then looking at the Rockies and he said, "You're a loser effing organization, every single one of you."
and he's not wrong.
As I say, he's pretty accurate.
Every single one of you. My favorite thing about this fracas, because it wasn't a brawl.
No.
Harper must have he's got a very unique jersey. Because when he's held back, his jersey looks like he's really being held back.
Well, it's always
he's not being held back. You got an umpire who had got in front of him and he grabbed the umpire like he's wrestling the umpire and he can't get away from him. These guys are all so fake tough guys. All of them. Major League Baseball players. All of you Major League Baseball players. Fake tough guys. Nobody ever wants to fight. Nobody tries to fight. And everybody gets held back by a pinky. It's ridiculous what's going on. And it's a waste of our time. And everybody gets excited and nothing happens. As Jim Cott used to say, it reminded me of senior prom. A lot of standing around and doing nothing. That's exactly what it was. And that's exactly what it is. If you start a brawl, you go. Those two can go. The combatants, let them go. Let them fight. Throw them out of the game. Let's move on. Let's just start throwing everybody out who leaves the bench.
I've been for that for ages.
Everybody out who leaves the damn bullpen.
I'm just going to make sure that this clip
Stay in the bullpen.
Complaining about baseball players being wimps is going to get cut and put on social media.
As a former baseball player, I can say those things.
So
yes.
you were the one who used. So as a former baseball player, you were the guy who used to not get in fights.
No, I did. Absolutely. But the thing was, I would be the first guy to run out there. I'd also be the first guy to be
hold me back. Hold me back. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I didn't want to get hit.
I think Bryce Harper is like he always wears that jersey anyway that's like unbuttoned down to his navel.
Right,
It
right.
looks great. It looks like he's in a tussle every time he does that.
It's like a stunt jersey. So like if a fight happens, it just looks different, you know? Like
yes. I think it is. But it was ridiculous. But it was fun because he comes running out and his hair is flowing. And he drops the bat and drops the helmet and then he was held back by an umpire.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Miami, meanwhile, they won 2 at Arizona, lost 2 against Cincinnati. Sandy Alcantara is now 1-4 on the season.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising.
Gave up 6 runs in an outing against Cincinnati. The Marlins also lost a 1-run game for the first time this season. They're 12-1 in 1-run games. Milwaukee, meanwhile, they lost 2 or 3 to the Dodgers, but then they swept Kansas City in 3 games. Christian Yelich on fire, 3 homers and 8 RBIs. It turned them around, winning in Kansas City because they had lost 8 of 10 games, but not as bad as the Pirates, who lost 2 or 3 to Colorado and 2 or 3 to Baltimore. The only guy that won in both series was that guy named Mitch Keller. He had a complete game to go 4-1 against Colorado, went 7 innings with 13 Ks against Baltimore, becoming the first Pirate pitcher with 13 strikeouts, no walks, no runs allowed in an outing in the live ball era. That's since 1920. Last 12 games, the Pirates have scored 18 runs. Their previous 12, they scored 88.
That'd be a good name for a baseball podcast if we start a new one, the live ball era.
Live ball era. First team in baseball to score 80 runs over a 12-game span and then score fewer than 20 over their next 12. They've lost 11 of 13. And then in the West, the Dodgers won 2 of 3 at Milwaukee, sweep 3 against San Diego. Noah Syndergaard is going to try hypnosis to turn his season around. So good.
He's always been like into that kind of stuff, though.
Yeah.
So,
Good luck to them.
He needs to grow his hair back. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. San Diego lost 2 of 3 at Minnesota, and then they were swept by the Dodgers in 3 games. But hey, look, they're losing all these games, and Juan Soto's finally playing well, and they still can't win. He hit a 6th and 7th home run of the year. Bob Melvin said the team is, quote, underperforming. Yep, I think that'd be a good way to put it.
Very
Casey.
succinct.
Did you see the clip of Tatis came up to bat the other day and like they had an ad on the crawl on the bottom and it was for injured in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great. Great timing there.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Casey Schmidt of the Giants is the second baseball player to have at least 8 hits, 4 RBIs, and 4 runs scored over his first 3 career games. The other is Joe DiMaggio. How about that? Good start, Casey Schmidt. Colorado won 2 of 3 at Pittsburgh. They lost 2 of 3 against Philadelphia. They have won 9 of their last 13 games. Bad news, pitcher Ryan Feltner sustained a small skull fracture.
Jeez.
And a concussion as he was struck by a line drive off the bat of Nick Castellanos in Saturday's game. That was scary.
I saw people. I don't want to watch the clip. I saw people talking about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't need to see that."
Yeah, I saw it. It's I mean, the worst thing was I saw it. They were like cutting in on MLB Network, and I saw it when it happened. So, and when he got just the sound, it's it's awful. Arizona, they lost 2 of 3 to Miami and won 3 of 4 against San Francisco. Zach Gallen now 6-1 on the season. All right, our favorites, Shohei. Shohei had an okay week, 5 of 21, 3 doubles, a home run, and 6 RBIs. He's hitting 288 on the season, 8 homers, 25 RBIs. Pitching, he's 4-1 with a 2.74 ERA. How about this little nugget, though? Of the last 20 times that catcher's interference has been called, Shohei Ohtani has been the batter 5 times.
Wow.
5 of the 20 catcher's interference. Shohei, the batter.
He must set up really deep or something.
Well, he's just got such a long swing, too. And where he holds his hands, it's just a big sweeping swing that I guess the catchers just can't figure out how far back to get when he's hitting. Also, since the start of the 2021 season, only 3 pitchers have more strikeouts than Shohei, and only 1 hitter has more home runs than Shohei. Well,
unicorn.
Wander Franco, he was 9 of 29 this week, a double, a homer, 3 RBIs. He's hitting 304 with 7 homers and 23 RBIs.
He's really, really back now.
Yeah. J-Rod is having a rough time right now.
Yeah.
5 of 24, a homer and 5 RBIs. He's hitting 214, 7 homers and 19 RBIs. And Juan Soto is on fire. 10 of 22 this week, 5 doubles, 2 homers, 3 RBIs. He has launched his average all the way to 262. 7 home runs and 20 RBIs.
That's saying a lot because that man was
hitting in
the bottom of the barrel.
Yes. He was hitting in the freeway zone. I-84 just a week ago. Since the start of last season, only 5 hitters have watched more called strikes pass through the heart of the strike zone. That's according to Baseball Savant. In other words, Soto is letting too many opportunities pass him by. He is so proud of his eye. It is amazing the number of, and he's so proud of his eye, and he's so proud of his little strut when he takes a pitch that he takes so many strikes. It's crazy. I'm still betting the Cardinals every game.
How's that going?
I went 1-5 this week.
Yeah.
Wow.
You keep betting against them.
Because I kept betting against them. Exactly. I mean, after they won the first game against the Cubs, I was like, well, they'll certainly lose the second one. Nope. Certainly lose the third one. Nope. And then certainly they'll lose to Boston. And then Kenley Jansen screwed both of those games up. But I'm 19-22 now, betting the Cardinals 1-5 this week. The Cardinals have 3 against Milwaukee this week. Huge series. The number 1 team in the Central. Huge. Could, take care of business here. Cardinals are in the mix. And then they got 4 against the Dodgers at home. Cubs, you got 3 in Houston. That is not easy, followed by 3 in Philadelphia. It's your World Series tour.
Jesus, that's so, man. Let's just get out of the way. I'll take a split.
See what you're made of here, Murph.
I'll take a split.
All right. Atlanta, you got 3 in Texas against this first place Rangers team. And then you'll host J-Rod and the Mariners.
Yeah. I told you the Braves schedule's been really hard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, it seems ridiculous, but every week we're playing these great teams.
Yeah. Angels will be in Baltimore for 4. That's a good series. Yankees are in Toronto for 4. Minnesota will visit the Dodgers for 3. And then this weekend, a couple of big series. Milwaukee is at Tampa, a couple of first place teams there, and Baltimore at Toronto in the battle for second. Right now, Baltimore with the second best record in all of the American League. All right, fellas. That's all I got. Good?
I mean, your team's on a winning streak now, Fish.
Hottest team in the league.
That's
just
right.
Be happy, man.
Hottest team. We won games this week with Steven Matz pitching. He didn't get the win, of course, but we won a game with Steven Matz pitching.
They got hot.
Steven Matz would be a luxury for the Braves right now.
Boy, we'll take Ozuna back.
I don't know.
I don't want him, but for Steven Matz, I don't know if I could get much more.
Yeah. I don't know if we could get much more for Ozuna.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, fellas, that'll do it for us here on Infield Fly. Thanks for tuning in. Another exciting, busy week of Major League Baseball ahead. We'll talk about it next week here on Infield Fly. For Keith Murphy and Lang Whitaker, I'm Rob Fisher. Make sure you tune in next week. Infield Fly here on Grind City Media.